The 3.26 Challenge League, Mercenaries of Trarthus, is launching soon. In this video, I want to go over everything we currently know about Mercs' league mechanic and rewards, potential farming strategies, as well as the implications this league mechanic will have on the league's economy. That way you can jump into the league with everything you need to hit the ground running. As always, there's a written guide linked in the comments below, which will be updated as the league evolves. This long-awaited league introduces something players have been asking about since the game's creation: mercenaries. These mercenaries can be recruited, equipped with gear, and then accompany you throughout the entire game, killing enemies, supporting you, and multiplying your loot. You'll encounter one mercenary in every zone and map, and can choose one of three options: either recruit, take an item, or exile them. After selecting your option, you must defeat them in combat. If you die while fighting them, they teleport away. No second chances. The first option, recruiting, is what we're all here for. It allows you to pay gold to permanently hire that merc. You can have up to 3 mercs recruited at a time. The next option, exiling, allows you to exile that merc and block any mercs with the same attribute type from spawning in the next 10 zones. This is useful for fishing for specific mercs with certain skills or equipment types. Lastly, you can take an item from the merc. You'll be able to see every piece of gear they have equipped as well as the contents of their pockets. You can take either one piece of gear or the entire contents of their pockets. It's worth noting that merc gear is well rolled, so it will be better than a random rare you find on the ground, and that mercs can have uniques, including new exclusive uniques. You're definitely going to want to look over each merc's items in the campaign, as there will likely be some pretty valuable upgrades in there. In addition, infamous mercs can have new exclusive infamous affixes on their items, which I'll talk a little bit about more later. Once recruited, you can pick a single merc to accompany you throughout the game. There is no additional gold cost to have them fight with you. Once you've hired them, they're yours. Mercs will accompany you in every type of content, including boss fights. Notably, mercs do not count as minions. They're considered allies for the purposes of game effects, though it's currently unclear whether they count as party members. If a merc dies, they leave the zone and cannot return to that zone. You'll have to clear the rest of the zone yourself. In order to continue using that merc in future zones, you'll also have to pay a gold fee to revive them in town. Mercs have a rather strange feature in that they count as half a party member for the purposes of scaling the game difficulty and rewards. This means that while you have a merc with you, all enemies will have more life and drop more items. In theory, the damage and support brought to you by the merc should more than make up for the increase in monster life. And since the merc isn't actually another person, the extra loot is all yours. The only downside you're likely to notice here is the 50% more unique monster life. If your merc isn't pulling their weight, consider not taking your merc along to Act or Pinnacle bosses. When it comes to customizing your merc, they have a number of restrictions. Notably, mercs do not gain levels. They are permanently stuck at the level you recruit them at. If you want a higher level merc, then you have to recruit a better one. Mercs can also only use equipment that fits their attribute. Mercs will have either a single attribute or double attribute listed. If a mercenary has a single attribute, then they can equip any gear that shares an attribute with it. If a mercenary has 2 attributes, then they can only equip gear that have any combination of those 2 attributes. For example, a strength mercenary can equip strength, strength dexterity, or strength intelligence gear, while a strength intelligence mercenary can equip strength, intelligence, and strength intelligence gear. Mercenaries don't have to meet attribute requirements of gear in order to equip them as long as they have matching attribute types. Mercs you recruit will have a full set of gear. These items can be replaced, but you can't take back any items they started with, only the items that you give them yourself. Mercs also have preferred weapon types, and can only equip weapons of those types. You can equip uniques on mercs, and notably, passive skills and keystones granted by equipment do work. Yes, that means you can give Mercs specific notables with Anoints. Mercs can have up to 6 skills with linked supports, just like players. Unlike players, however, these skills cannot be changed. They are fixed. If you want different skills or supports, then you need to find a different Merc that has them. Merc skills don't count as being socketed in any of their gear, so any equipment that grants bonuses to socketed gems will not work. It's currently unknown if gear that grants or triggers skills will work, however. You're going to want to pay close attention to the supports the Mercs are using. Mercs can rarely have gilded supports that are far more powerful than usual. The only one previewed showed the Merc granting Fortify to all nearby allies, which is incredibly powerful. When it comes to fishing for the Merc you want, it's likely that archetypes will be incredibly important. However, at the time of recording, we have absolutely no idea how they work. So bookmark the written guide and check back in the future once we know more. Mercs that spawn have a rare chance to be infamous Mercs. These have far better equipment and can have exclusive infamous modifiers on their gear. These modifiers are new, and some of them will likely be very sought after, so check every item on infamous Mercs. Your odds of encountering infamous Mercs scales with area item quantity, so they scale with juicing your maps. It's possible that infamous Mercs may have other bonuses, such as higher chances of gilded supports or Trarthan gems, but we currently don't know that for sure. Speaking of, there are several special rewards you can get from Mercs. There's the aforementioned infamous modifiers, but there are also Trarthan gems, new variants of existing skills. When a Merc has one of these, you can just take it just like you can an item, so be sure you're aware which ones are valuable. Mercs can also have exclusive unique items that you can't get anywhere else. When it comes to gearing up your Mercs, there's a huge number of powerful uniques that can be used to really ramp up your character's power. Kingmaker has long been the go-to for minion builds using Animated Guardian, and now everyone can make use of it with no investment. As a result, it's likely that Kingmaker will be the best option for Mercs, but you're unlikely to be able to afford it anytime soon. Gravebind is also another interesting option, opening up the ability to set up your Merc as a magic find color or use them for on-kill chain explosions for better clear. There's also a ton of powerful support options that simply multiply your offensive or defensive capability, such as Calm's Binding. It's worth taking a moment to dwell on the fact that Anoints work on gear equipped by Mercs. You have precious little ability to modify Merc skills otherwise, and there are some notables that can be really impactful. Remember that all Blight uniques can be anointed, and the Blight Helm can even be anointed twice. If you have a Merc that can be taken to the next level with a few specific notables, it may be worth grabbing one. It'll certainly be cheaper than a Strangle Grasp. Mercs will have a huge amount of build variety and use cases, more than I can cover in this video. While each build will want something a little different out of their Merc, there's something that everyone agrees on. Mercs are going to have incredible support capabilities. Mercs can have aura skills, haste in particular being a very nice one, inflict debuffs on enemies, grant fortify to players, or even be a source of explode chains to boost your clear speed. A potential Merc build I want to highlight is the possibility of using your Merc as a Magic Find color. It's currently unclear whether Magic Find gear on Mercs will actually function, but if it does, it could be a powerful option to boost the loot you're getting. Gravebind, for instance, could cause your Merc to get kill credit from every kill. You just slap some increased item rarity in every other slot, and now you're multiplying the uniques dropping in your maps without sacrificing anything from your actual build. With all this in mind, I think it's pretty clear that Mercs are going to have a massive impact on the economy of this league. Kingmaker, for instance, will likely be over a mirror, and many other uniques that are normally cheap will be extremely expensive. This is because there's a huge number of uniques that provide powerful support utility, but just aren't worth giving up a gear slot on your actual character. It's likely that as certain combinations of uniques on Mercs are discovered, that prices of random uniques will spike over the course of the league. So holding on to uniques you suspect this may happen to could be pretty wise. Additionally, if Anoints on Mercs end up being powerful, then I expect Strangle Grasp, Blight uniques, and maybe even Oils and Tainted Mythic Orbs to be far more expensive than usual. Now onto farming strategies that will let you take advantage of all this. I think the most powerful thing you could be doing this league is increased item rarity magic find strategies to get huge quantities of uniques. With many more uniques being coveted by a much larger portion of the player base, prices are going to spike. Blight could end up being very profitable as well as beyond for Tainted Mythic Orbs. It's also worth mentioning that you may want to focus on league mechanics that maximize the party bonus. League mechanics that give rewards through fixed drops won't scale, while ones that simply juice monster count will scale. So you can get a bit more of a boost out of your solo party bonus by focusing on those. Additionally, if infamous affixes end up being coveted, then you may want to focus on farming for infamous mercenaries. This will likely involve maxing out the area item quantity and running T17 maps for higher item level bases. Alternately, people crafting with infamous affixes will probably want fracturing orbs to lock them in place, so farming Harbinger may be another way to cash in. That's all for this video. In the description and comments below, I've linked my written guide with all the information we have available to us. This guide will be updated as you learn more, so you ought to bookmark it to stay up to date on everything. I'd also love to hear what you guys are thinking about this league. Any spicy Merc builds you have planned? Uniques you think will be absolutely busted on Mercs? If you found this video helpful, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.